friends. Today we are going to make a chocolate chip cookie for one, and we are going to be following this recipe. Now, I want you to follow the watch, pause, do procedure when making the cookie. So I am going to show you how to do the step. You are going to pause it onto your Chromebook. You're going to do the step, and then you're going to hit play on your video and continue the steps with me. Are we ready? All right, let's start. So according to our recipe, the first step that we need to do is place 1 tablespoon of butter into a glass bowl and melt it in the microwave for 25 seconds. Okay, so we are going to get our butter. Now, something that you need to keep in mind with the butter is that you don't have to necessarily use a 1 tablespoon measure to measure out the butter, because the butter sticks that we're going to be using for this recipe already have it portioned off. So if you look closely, you're going to see that there is a dotted line where we need to cut the butter to get 1 tablespoon. Now, although it says 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, each little section is just 1 tablespoon. So I'm going to slice right on the dotted line and then put it into my glass measuring cup to put into the microwave. All right, so I have my knife and my butter. Let's see if I can move this a little bit closer so that you can see it. I am going to cut. There we go. I'm going to cut right here at the line so I get 1 tablespoon. And I'm going to move it over here so that it's safe to cut on. And I'm going to use this plate that's over here to slice my butter on. That way I don't cut the counter. All right, so I have my 1 tablespoon of butter, and I'm going to just place that into my measuring cup. Okay, and then my directions say that I microwave this butter for 25 seconds. So I'm going to come over here to the microwave. I'm going to hit time, 25, and start. While my butter is microwaving, this would be a really great time for you to pause this video, go measure out and slice 1 tablespoon of butter, and microwave it for yourself for 25 seconds. Okay? Stop the video and do step 1. Okay, my butter just has a few more seconds in the microwave. I'm going to take it out. And if I showed you, this does not look like melted butter, correct? No, I think it needs a couple more seconds in the microwave. If this happens to you, sometimes the butter, depending on what time you're coming to Life Skills, will still be really cold. So if you're one of the first groups, you might have to microwave it 2 times. So I'm going to go ahead and stick this back in the microwave for about 10 seconds, and we'll see what happens then. If your butter comes out of the microwave and it's already melted, then you won't need to repeat that step. But sometimes microwaves are different, and sometimes the temperature of the butter is cold. Okay, this looks nice and melty. Let me just take my spoon here and check. Yep, I got nice melted butter here. You can see it's kind of a liquid. And if it's not, I'm just going to stir it to kind of get the rest melted here until it's nice and consistent, like a kind of like yellowish water. Okay, now my next step, number 2, says to gently stir 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. So I'm going to use my tablespoon measure. It's the largest one, and I am going to put 2 of these into my butter. Now remember, you don't want the brown sugar to be heaping on top. You want it just to fit into the measuring scoop. So I'm going to come over here to my brown sugar, which I already have opened. And do you see how this is nice and level? There isn't a lot of brown sugar overflowing on the top, and it is filled all the way. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 2 scoops. There's 1. I'm going to come back. Here is 2. And it says that I need to gently stir. So I'm going to mix this into the butter until it all looks the same. kind of tilt so you can see. Okay, you don't see any butter, and all the brown sugar is the same color. And okay, it's all in there. Now I'm going to go to my third step. Now there's a lot of parts here. So it says stir in an 1/8 teaspoon of vanilla extract, an 1/8 teaspoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of milk, and 3 tablespoons of flour until combined. So I have a lot of things to measure up. First, it is my vanilla extract. Now you have to be careful because my 1/8 teaspoon measure is very tiny. So I need to pour very slowly. Okay, so I unscrew the top and I fill it just enough, going slowly, and I add it in. It only ends up being a couple drops. Then I'm going to do an 1/8 teaspoon of salt. But what's going to happen if I don't wipe off my teaspoon with a paper towel in between, the salt is going to stay stuck to it. So I'm just going to take a paper towel and I'm just going to wipe so that it's dry. And now I'm going to measure in my salt. I need an 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt, so using the same measure, I'm going to very carefully pour my salt. If you get a little too much in, that's okay. You can just empty some of it out. Don't pour it back into the container, but you can go to the trash and kind of empty it out. So after the 1/8 teaspoon of salt, you do 2 teaspoons of milk. So I need to change my measuring spoon to the teaspoon measure. And then I'm going to do 2 of these. Now again, I have a very small spot that I'm pouring my milk into, so I'm going to need to pour very, very slowly. And you want to make sure that you can either pour over the other plate that's here. Don't necessarily pour into your container, because if you spill some into here, it's going to ruin the recipe and it won't turn out right. So I'm going to pour over my plate that I'm using to cut my butter on. And then I'm going to bring it over here, pour it in, and because I needed 2, I need to do it twice. And if you spill some on the counter, that's part of the cleanup. You gotta wipe it up when you're done. And then 3 tablespoons of flour. So I have some brown sugar still left on my 1 tablespoon measure. I'm just going to wipe that off in the paper towel. I'm gonna come over here to take my flour. And I need 3 tablespoons. Again, let me show you. This is not 1 tablespoon. This is more. I need to only fill up my tablespoon with just enough so that it covers just the top. It doesn't go over, but I need to make sure that it's filled all the way. So this is 1. Goes right into my measuring cup. Here is 2. Here is, to make that level, 3. All right, and then I'm going to stir until combined. This is where you are going to stop this video and go ahead and mix in your ingredients and stir until it is combined. So pause and do this next step. All right, so let me show you after my whole thing is combined what this looks like. Kind of looks like cookie dough. Okay, you do it so that it all looks the same. You don't want to see any flour still not mixed into that brown sugar butter. Okay, now step number 4 is to stir in 2 tablespoons of chocolate chips. According to me, this is the best part. So I'm going to take my tablespoon measure and I'm going to fill it 2 times. And although I love chocolate, I can't do more than what the recipe calls for. It's got to be a level measure on top. So here is 1. And here is 2. Okay. I need to stir. While I'm stirring, you are going to pause this video and go ahead and add your 2 tablespoons of chocolate chips. All right, I've stirred mine and it's all combined. Now my next step, number 5, says to place the cookie dough on a plate and form into a circle. So I'm going to use that plate that I was pouring over. I have that right here. I'm going to place my dough onto my plate and I'm going to make it into a circle. So that means I'm going to have to touch it. And I'm going to, kind of like we do with Play-Doh here, form it into a circle. Okay? There I go. Now I want you to pause the video, put your cookie dough on the plate, and form it into a circle. All right, our last step here, and it's a lot of microwaving. We're going to microwave this cookie dough in the microwave for 30 seconds. When it stops, we're going to do another 30 seconds. And then when that stops, we're going to do another 30 seconds. So that's like a minute and a half of in the microwave. But after each 30 seconds, it's going to stop and we'll have to restart. Okay? This, while it's microwaving, would be a great time for you to work on doing your dishes and doing some cleanup to your area so that when our cookie's done, we'll be able to enjoy it. So I'm going to go ahead and microwave it for 30 seconds. Time, 30 and start. Again, I'm doing this 3 times. So go ahead and pause this video and put your cookie dough in for 30 seconds. All right, my cookie is in the microwave for the 3rd time at 30 seconds, and it's just about done. So I'm going to wait for that microwave to beep, and then I'm going to pull it out and check it. All right. If you've done this correctly, your cookie is going to be bubbly and really hot and look kind of dry on top. Okay? But the directions in our recipe say to allow the cookie to cool for 1 to 2 minutes. So set your cookie to the side and go ahead and finish cleaning up your dishes and make the counter nice and neat for the next group of friends. And then when that's finished, your cookie should be ready to enjoy. You can pick it up with your hands and eat it, or you can grab a fork and you can enjoy. But when you're done, don't forget to wash your plate. Enjoy!